cello students. We're ready for lesson 22. We're going to be starting with a recap of tone studies, and then we're going to get into a few skill builders. Okay, and I'm going to show you where those are in your book. First off, let's take a quick review of our tone studies. These are going to make you sound more advanced, much earlier on in your practice than you would without them. So bowing is quite difficult on the cello, any string instrument really, but the cello has a tendency to have some really odd sounds if we don't really focus in on what we're doing and focus in on our bow technique. So rosin up your bows and let's get ready. So we're going to start with tone study number 1. That would be long bows on all the open strings. So you're starting on the lowest string, the C. You're doing a long, slow bow, trying to maintain an even tone the whole time. Then when you reach all the way to the tip, then you're going to go back up, trying to maintain the same amount of length and tone, like that. And then you do that on all 4 strings. And then for number 2, you divide up the bow into different fractions. For example, the first phase would be doing it in half. Okay, so you just go 1, 2, and then up bow, 1, 2. So your bow lift is right there in the middle. And then if you want to advance beyond that, you can do thirds, and then fourths, sixths, and eighths. And there's really no need to go past eighths in this stage of your learning. So, all right, and then for number 3, you're going to do the long bows on scales. So the scales that you know, you're just going to do long bows on those. And the slower you go, the harder it will be to maintain an even tone. So start out a little quicker like this, and then try to gradually bring it down slower and see if you can maintain a nice clear tone in that way. All right, and then number 4 is the bow lifts on every note of a scale. So for example, if we're doing D major and we're doing, let's say half bows, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that, okay? So each note gets half of the bow. So 2 down and then 2 back up. And then you can move that into thirds and fourths and sixths and eighths. You can also see if you can do the whole scale in one bow. Like that. That's a fun challenge as well. And then you can also try to do that all up bow as well. All right, so let's take a look, now that we've got tone study 1 through 4 down, let's take a look on page 31 in your book. We're gonna work on some skill builders. So these are some nice warm-ups you can do before you start your practice each day, and something to get you really warmed up for the key that you're gonna be playing in. These are all in G major, so these are great to play before you do any workouts in G major. So starting on exercise 119, we're going to start on the G major scale. Half notes. Is half notes using the arpeggio. So the arpeggio is the broken chord. Arpeggio is just the Italian term, musical term for broken chord, or for the word broken. Okay, so this is like a chord, the G chord, because we're in the key of G. So it's G, D, B, and then we finish off on a G as well. So it's like a 4-note chord. So on the piano, that would all be played at the same time. Or it could be broken into an arpeggio. So that's what we're doing here. All right, exercise 120, we're gonna go into 3/4 times. So remember the strong, weak, weak. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. exercise 121 is also a good one. This is the arpeggio as well. It's just made a bit more lively with some eighth notes. So here we go. All right, so y'all practice those very slowly, very carefully. Probably play through each one about 3 times before you start your practice each day on your regular pieces. And then you're good to go. All right, so let's look at exercise 108 now. This is on page 29, so this is our lesson for today. So we're going to talk a little bit about the tie and the slur. All right, so the tie is a little curved line that goes from one note to the next. But the difference between the tie and the slur, they both look the same. The difference is that the tie goes to a note of the same pitch, like from a D to another D. Same D. So not this D to this D. So we're not doing, it would just be 2 Ds. But if you see a tie, that means you're actually going to tie the note together, making it into a half note, like this. 1, 2. So that's 2 quarter notes tied. Like that. All right, then for the slur, that would be like going in one bow from one note to the next. Like that, or from a D to a D. Or any other note, okay? So, and then for fingers, you play the note, and then you pop your finger down. So that would be a D to an E. Quarter note, 1, 2. So 2 quarter notes tied. All right, so let's take a look at 108 here. Okay, so we're going to be doing half notes and quarter notes tied. So you'll notice this whole exercise sounds like half notes. Here we go. 1, 2. So make sure you put in those half rests there. The first one has a lift, so you want to make sure you have 2 beats here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beat 3 and 4 is the rest. I said 1, 2 there because I wasn't counting while I was playing. Okay, so now for exercise 109, we're going to take a look at how these slurs work. Okay, so we're going to go D to E. So while you're drawing your bow, you're going to go D, E, rest, rest, E, D, rest, rest, D, E, rest, rest, E, D, rest, rest, D, E, E, D, D, E, E, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's going to be a little bit tricky in the beginning. What might happen is you might do like a shorter D and then go. You don't want that, okay? So you want to make sure it's a full quarter note. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so don't cut that first one short. All right, exercise 110, same thing pretty much. So that's a dotted half note there at the end. So that's your 3 beats. And then quarter rest is beat 4. 1 beat there at the end. So that's where you do your lift. Okay, exercise 111 is next. No rests here, just the notes. pattern going up the D major scale. And I'll show y'all a trick on how to come down as well. Up there on the high D, now just come down in the same pattern. All right, so that'll be a fun challenge. Y'all see if y'all can do that. It's not in the book. Okay. Now for crossing strings. So for crossing strings, especially from the D to the A, kind of give your cello just a gentle tilt there. So you're pivoting it with this knee, that direction, very slightly. Okay, so we're going D to A. Like that, okay? Let's try this on exercise 113. So we're gonna go D to A, down. Now F sharp to A. Back to the E. And then D. Notice that that quarter note tie at the end for that D. It should sound the same as the half note D. All right, now exercise 114 and 115 are a little more tricky, so y'all watch me closely on this one. Okay, so take that very slowly. Now I want to point out something. If your finger If you're finding a finger and it lands on the string in an awkward position and you're supposed to keep holding it down, like if you have a bracket there, like where you have E to A and then F sharp to A, so you should be holding down E and F sharp. Okay, so if let's say your F sharp finger kind of fumbles there and you got the note, but the finger is in an uncomfortable position, meaning you're probably going to be out of tune if you keep it that way. So while you're on that A string, you can lift up that finger and replace it correctly. That way, when you come back, it will sound better than it would if you had just left it held down, like the bracket suggests. So that's a quick intonation trick to work on. Okay, exercise 115, last one. This one is called upside down because it's going in the opposite direction. So we're going from the higher string to the lower string. Here we go. And it's a good idea to practice these super slowly, like this. So that's going to give you more time to do your string change, and it's going to be a lot easier on your elbow thinking about that movement rather than doing it so quickly. So, all right, so y'all have fun with that. Work on tone studies 1 through 4. Work on your skill builders. Skill builders on page 31, exercises 119 through 121, and then your full slurring page and tie page. There's just one tie exercise because those are real easy, but that's page 29. So y'all work on all of that, have fun, and I'll see you in the next lesson.